kind of a panel style. If you've been to any conferences, you know sometimes they have a panel discussion, and I'm going to kind of just facilitate a little bit and let these guys talk about their trip. If you're wondering why I've got the laptop, I've got to be able to see the pictures here. So your pastor doesn't see real well, and until God heals me, I got to adjust. So I've got one here where I can see. But they're going to talk some about their trip, and I'll ask them at times just to share a little bit from their heart. But a lot of what they're going to talk about is our experiences, what we did, and let you get a vision into what we did and hear about what we've done. And at least that gives you two of the senses that you can have a sense of this mission trip. Because as I said in Sunday school, this church is partnering with this team. You prayed for us. Many of you helped support us financially to get us there. You became co-partners in this mission. So whatever God did there, you're a part of it. And we just want to say thank you on behalf of this mission team for your participation. So we're going to kick off. I think we got one there. You guys just start. Somebody jump in. Those things in front of you that are long, slender are microphones. And you got to pick them up for them to work. They won't work well there on the table. So you pick them up and you talk in them, and y'all talk a little bit about, we're going to go through these pictures rather quick, so I'm going to motion for them when to go, so y'all start talking.
I do want to start off this morning. It ain't going to be long with me, because I want to leave these other guys time to share. But with a group this size, you got to bring God's word into it, because somebody may be lost and undone without Jesus Christ this morning. But ready for the Master's return, I started praying, and as I got the opportunity to get up and share my testimony and share some things that went on in my life here in America that some of these people didn't have the opportunity to see as early as I did in life, and that's Christ. And I started thinking and praying, God, what would I say to these people? And this is what I say to Grace Baptist Church this morning. It's in Luke, and I read the same passage to the people the first service we went into. Be ready for service and have your lamps lit. You must be like people waiting for the master to return from the wedding banquet. This morning, what we done, we went on a mission trip some 7,000 miles away. But the mission started here in Dodge County. It didn't start in Romania. It started right here. People of grace and visitors. We got to have our light lit right here. We got to have our lamp on here in Dodge County, because in our Sunday school lesson this morning led back to this that we went into this morning. The Lord would have us this morning to be ready at all times, to live our life as if there's lost people all around us, and that's our job, to share to the lost and undone. And I don't know how the Lord worked this. If somebody asked Dal to come this morning because we were doing this, God works in mysterious ways. I understand that, Dal. Because some years ago, Dal probably wouldn't have ever seen Sherwin in this situation. Grew up under Dal, and his family grew up with him. A fine family. One of his brothers is one of my closest friends. And I thank y'all for coming this morning. But we're going to start and let somebody, Heather, probably you'll start, because God's done a work in some people's life behind this table. Done a great work in Sherwood, and I'll talk about that before I leave this table this morning. Pray for our team. There's somebody in this congregation may want to add to this team. The number can grow. It ain't about just 8 or 9 or so odd people. It's this church, this community, what we believe in, what this word says. Be ready.
Well, as you take a look at the screen, I'm going to ask these guys, as we go through these pictures, do you just give comments? And we've got a lot of pictures, so we need to get started in them. I'll start off with the picture that you see here, that you'll see this setting. This is John and them's back porch where they live. We spent a good bit of time. It's June there, but it's a whole lot less hot than it is here. In fact, most days it was in the 70s, maybe got up to 80 without the humidity that we have. So we enjoyed a lot of time out there on the porch when we had the evenings, when we weren't in services. You'll see a lot of kids, as you see here in this picture, and there was a lot of them around that we ministered to. So let's go ahead in that next picture, and you guys just start talking and talk about what the pictures and things like that. Microphones work better when you hold it.
We just sat around learning each other, you know, talking to each other and learning what their culture's like and just communicating. And I don't know, just sharing a good time. That's me and Rita right there, just talking. Moms, you know, talking about mom stuff and gospel stuff and ministry stuff. And
that's in their living room.
Yeah.
John, the living room. Next one.
That's John.
That's John, missionary. That's his seat where he's at most of the time. Let some of our young folks chime in on this. They spend some time doing this here. You gotta pick up the microphone though for it to work. Let's go.
This was like their back patio area where they kept their dog and where they played. And they play a lot of soccer over there. They call it football, but it's like soccer. But anyway, and so they like to play that a lot. And so that's what they're doing here.
And the biggest kid is right in the middle right there. You see Herschel.
Herschel.
He's right there with it.
You don't see no old people out there. He ain't old. He's only 30.
Back to the back patio or the back porch. A lot of the younger kids like to draw with chalk, so I picked up that very quickly with Bianca, and she loved to just draw pictures, so that's what we did a lot of the time.
You in the middle of the picture. You talk about it.
I don't know where that is. Where is that?
I believe that was one of the first days in the village. I'm thinking
Yeah,
that
that's
was
Pentique.
Pentique, where we actually laid the flooring that you see soon. But that was one of the first days, if not the first day or second day, that we were in Romania, walking door to door and just inviting them to come to church that night and to also praying for them for all their needs. You know, these people, they want you to pray. They want you to pray for. They're not shy either. They want you to pray for their family, for their health and stuff like that.
To set the stage on that picture, we're getting ready to team up. We have some in the church that's laying the floor, and I believe Robert and Herschel and some of the other ones had an opportunity to go in and lay flooring with these guys. So what we're doing with John here is we're teaming up, and we're going to hit different houses. Now, you've seen the mission house. It had lights, and it had running water, and it had stuff like we would have today. But what we're fixing to walk into and see is nothing of what we have today. It's totally different. That's what John's setting the scene for us. As you see this picture here, I did have an opportunity to Robert and Josh. I want Josh to talk about this picture here just a minute because I had an opportunity to go up the hill and he went in.
I believe this was Robert. The first day we were in Pentique, and Robert worked on the floor, so he didn't get to go out. So the second day we went back to Pentique, he went out with us, and Tanchu was the second day. I'm sorry. Miss Rita had pulled us to the side and wanted us to go to this house in particular, me and Robert and Herschel. And I believe, if I remember correctly, it's two separate houses, but they're both a part of the same family. The one house on your left had a lady with 3 or 4 kids, and I believe her husband was gone to Spain or Germany to work. We ran into that a lot this time of the year over there. The guys, the husbands, the boys, the men, they go off and work and come back. I believe they're more prevalent there when Brother Chris went during the wintertime than they are during the time we went this year. But anyway, we prayed for her, and we went down to the next house on the right, or down to the next door on the right, and prayed for that family. I believe they were sisters or something, if I remember correctly. But in that last house, I know Robert would say if he was here, because it really touched him. After we prayed, there was me and Herschel and Robert noticed a elderly lady trying to come up them steps right there. You can hardly tell, but those are steps right there in front of that door. and we helped her in the door and sat her on the bed. I could tell something was wrong with her, and we asked Rita what was wrong with her, and she said she was blind. She was blind. I believe she was 66, 68 years old. She sat down on the bed, and we prayed for her and her granddaughter and her great-grandkids that were in the room. And as we finished praying, she started praying in Romania for us, blessing us for being there, going door to door and telling them about Jesus and inviting them to come to church. And that really, really touched our hearts, mine and Herschel and Robert's heart.
Here's another on the street here. As we went, we didn't always make it into the houses. That's a little different from wintertime when I'm there. It's usually snow on the ground and cold. They invite you in. Well, this time of year, they're often out, and we met many folks along the road, as you see here, that would strike up conversations with them. Might want to comment on this one. I'm not sure what this picture is.
I mean, that was just a normal, somebody's yard. I mean, like they have animals, they have gardens. I don't know what that is. I didn't take that picture.
This picture here is 2 houses down from the church that we had the opportunity to put the flooring in. I reckon why I get the mic, because it's so, it seems like it was today of yesterday that I seen this. This is where the people cooked. They had 2 stoves. The houses are so small that it would be so hot. Nobody has too much electricity. They do a lot of cooking on wood stoves. And this is what that lady was doing when we went by. She was cooking lunch. I guess you would call it lunch. It ain't what our lunch would be. But there was something out there. I didn't know what it was. So I took a picture and slowly, fastly went by her.
See one of the young ones, y'all want to comment?
That's Risa. Oh, your turn.
That's one of the kids we met on the street. She was standing outside of our house watching us walk by, and me and Holden and Risa went over there and invited her to the kids club we were having at the church that afternoon.
Holden, on your looking at it on your right, that's John's oldest, John and Rita's oldest son. He turned 10 while we were there, and he's translating for us. And I'm just impressed with this young man, his heart, as he is serving in the ministry there. This is a big group gathering here.
Yeah, just move on.
Invite them to
Move
the
on.
kids
Go ahead.
at the church, I thought.
Oh, that's the little girl that was sick.
That's the little girl that's sick.
I knew there was going to come a time that there's a picture. It comes up. It's a little old woman standing outside by the road, and this was some of my, I think Brother Chris went one way, and I went another way with a team, and this happened to be our team that was following along, and the little lady comes out to the gate. You see a lot of houses are got wood gates. I don't know why they don't have a fence to keep an animal in, but you see wooden gates everywhere. But we stepped out, and my translator at this point is Rita, John's wife, and she translated, this little lady wants prayer for her grandchild. I said, that's good. Let's, do we do it here by the street, or where does she want to do it? She wanted to in. Now, these people were big on inviting you into their home, because it was very important that you seen their home. They were proud of what they got. They didn't beg you for stuff. They were real proud of what they had. So she did invite me in, and our team went in, and she said what she wanted prayer for. This little girl has cancer, some type of stomach cancer. And this picture don't show it real good, but she was blowed up real bad. I mean, when you hugged her, it was like just water or something that just stuck to you. I mean, visually, think of a young one here in this church with cancer blowed up, and she was really just, it was really bad. We started praying, and man, you could feel the Spirit just come down, and in that room, it was electrifying when we started praying. And Rita told me that right here, that little girl, grandmama, I said, thank you. You don't know what it means for an American But we can't look at it as an American praying for them folk. We got to pray, God, humble us down, show us that we people of Christ praying. Don't think of an American. And I tried to explain that to the grandmama, is we just Christians. We just people sent by God to pray for that little girl. And that's the picture. We took a picture with as we just Christians. Don't look at it as we're a blessed people. Everybody over there said, y'all are a blessed people. Look at y'all. No, it don't take what we got to be a blessed people. It takes only a saved person set apart from this world. And that's what we had the opportunity. This is some girls that was in the background in that house. We got to share with, I think, 3 of the girls, teenage girls. And what we are doing is setting a scene for 1 o'clock for a type of
Children's program.
kids club type thing. I call it a Wana because it's over here it'd be a Wana something. 6 o'clock we were inviting all the adults, kids and above to come at 6 o'clock. So we had a revival every night at some church in some village. So that's where we were doing here, trying to, goes back to Jackie. I think you talked to this lady.
Yeah, she had some grown sons in prison. She didn't come to the church service that night that I remember, but she had several children and the 2 sons were in prison. But we stopped and prayed with her. Just a very meager home. I don't think, is that the same place? Yeah, that's the same one.
Yeah, that's her house.
You can see just the very rural atmosphere. They like a lot of color.
That was the
I
house
don't
on the
remember.
hill. That was the house on the hill with a man and woman.
So
were-
many, I can't
They
remember.
wanted us to come in and
Yeah,
see what
they-
they had done because he had worked on his house for so long, and he wanted to show it off. And this is what it was when we walked in.
What do y'all share about how they build a house, how they don't believe in debt? Somebody share about just
Chris?
a little bit about that.
Well, what they did is they would work and build as they had money. A lot of these men, as Josh mentioned, they had to go to Germany or Spain somewhere to work to earn money because there's not a lot of jobs, especially for the gypsy people in Romania. So they would build houses as they had money. They wouldn't borrow money to do it. So you'd see some houses, I know I did it the first time, some of these guys did. So what's them abandoned houses that we keep seeing? So those are new houses they're building, but they may be 3 and 4 years old, but they're not finished with them. They build as they have money. So once they do build it, they're very proud of what they've accomplished. And most of them do the work themselves. A lot of them do anyway. This is the man here I think
Yeah.
y'all were talking about, isn't it?
This is a different man. I think he was down at the bottom of the hill, but this is his daughter-in-law in the yellow shirt and her 3 little girls. I think they're like 4 and under. And when we came back down the hill, she had dressed them up. So, because she knew we had phones and cameras and she wanted a picture. And I imagine someone will get a picture. This isn't a good posed picture of her children, but there they are. And so I imagine she wanted a picture of it. Maybe John can get that to her or something. But, you know, they don't just have a photo studio where they can go and pay $100 to get their picture made or whatever it is. I don't even know.
You'll see
But-
a lot of pictures because they counted an honor to get their picture made, especially with the mission team.
The Americans,
You'll see a lot
yeah.
of those in our pictures. You can go to the next one here.
That was a very common sight.
You see this a lot running up in all the villages we were in. You see the horse-drawn wagons. They're pulling. Sometimes they're hay. Sometimes it's grass. Sometimes it's crops. Sometimes it's wood for firewood because they still have to. Most of them cook with wood-burning stoves. And so you not only see it, but you hear it too, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Some of them, their bedrooms are closer to the side road, and they could hear it all during the night. Clip,
At
clop,
four-
clip, clop, clip, clop, going down the
At
little
4:30 in the
road.
morning, it was our alarm.
They going all the time. This was a 62-year-old lady that we found here sitting in the shade, and she had some health problems. And we stopped and talked with her and presented the gospel, and she prayed to receive Jesus. Sitting there under the tree, said she understood, and we rejoiced with her and also had prayer. She was having some leg problems there. So it was a wonderful visit that we had with that lady. Go to the next one. This is our first kids club, if I'm not mistaken, in Pentique. That's our van that we were in most of the time, traveling. We call it the hot box. They don't believe in a lot of air conditioning over there, nor ice in their drinks. This is one of their cultural things. So when you say turn on the air, you have to put your hand on the vent. You might feel a little cool air. And but when it's sitting out like that in the sun, it got very hot, and we would just tell them roll down the windows and let us get a breeze. We sweat more in the van than we did outside the van, which was ironic for us. You can go to the next one. This is inside the church in Pentique that we're working on the floors there, laying the tile that you can see. That's the size of the entire church pretty much. You see pretty much all of it right there.
This, can you guess how old that little girl in the black shirt is? She's 14 years old.
And this is 14
Yeah.
years old standing beside her.
Yes, so they wanted to get a picture of us because she was very small.
I don't think all the children
Or
are.
you just might be real big
Maybe.
Yeah,
to them.
I don't think all the children are unusually small, but compared to us. But I don't know her situation. Maybe she was malnourished. Maybe she had short parents. I don't know, but we just thought it was interesting. They're the same age. So.
This is another picture of our kids club there, doing some things with kids. We got several of these. We'll move through them quickly. And I ain't real sure what's going on there.
I don't know either.
Yeah, we're giving testimonies.
Okay, all right. You can go to the next one. Still the kids club. We got a good many at this kids club, and again, they like their pictures to be taken.
Edward, that's Edward.
He was related to the
Go to the next one.
Yeah.
That was right next to the church. This house was where we were working in Pentique. And we found it interesting. They were having a barbecue. It was still part of a holiday. They have a Pentecost, and they celebrate for 3 days. A lot of them do. And they were having a barbecue get-together right next to us, and we found it interesting. They pulled up, had a tractor, a good tractor. It came from the farm. They were bringing these people home, I think is what they said, that worked for them, but they just bringing a load of them in a wagon there. And they had to get the ladder to climb down out of the wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the next one. All right, this is the service that night in the same town. The tiles being put down on the floor, so we had the service outside, which is interesting. That it morphed about 3 times, I think, from where we had chairs set up, and then the shade was shift, so they just moved all the chairs. And so it ended up with them in the shade of the van and us standing in the sunshine, which is okay. But as John said, when the sheep go to the shade, you just preach to them in the shade. So we just adapted and went on. You go to the next one. These are just some where we've got the chairs set up and people are there. You can see our musicians. Go one more. You can kind of see a picture of our musicians that were with us every service, I guess, weren't they? They were with us every service. There's 3 guys. We had a violin or a fiddle, accordion, and a keyboard, and they would sing, and they would travel with us many times. And everybody liked the accordion player. What was his name?
Boo-boo.
Boo-boo. So they got a kick out of that. Boo-boo.
I want to say something about this picture. The lady on your left, she's got a black thing on her head and black. She is about the only Christian in that village. There may be 1 or 2 more. This is a relatively new church. And she is in mourning because her grandson died last year, and they wear black for a year. But you could tell on her face that she knew the Lord. And you could tell on the others' faces that they didn't. And she loved the music, and she enjoyed the message, and she loved on people, and she was so glad that we were there to help spread the gospel. And you could tell in her demeanor that she loved the Lord.
That service, there was about 4 that prayed the prayer for salvation. Mm-hmm. And we were praising the Lord for that. All ladies, there were no men. All the men are gone working. Well, I say all. Most of the men are gone working, not all of them. but they just hadn't got them to the church. There were some there on Sunday service,
Yeah.
but not there that night. You can go to the next one. This is the kids club in Tonchu. I want y'all to talk about what y'all doing up there. Tell them what this is called.
The Arooshtasha. It's a little dance that the kids enjoy doing. It's just really fun and
Silly.
yeah.
That's just the purpose, have a good time. The kids enjoy that. Rita's leading it. They're saying instructions and they have to do different things and they kind of dance and do a little thing and the kids had a ball doing that. They got all the adults, well, most of us up there. I've been there and I've done it, so I didn't have to do it this time. You can go to the next one. They're still in Tonchu. That day at Kids Club, we had what, about 70 to 80 kids?
Yeah, it was over 70.
Between 70 and 80 kids at this kids club in Tonchu. This is one of the first churches. We, if you remember when Sandu was here, he was talking about building the church. This is it. It's been built, and God's blessing. This is one of the first villages that I had the privilege to go to my first time. And in this village, we baptized about 50 people the first year I went. And the church is still thriving and doing well. You can go to the next one. There's still more kids club pictures. We'll kind of go through these. If something strikes and y'all want to speak to it, you can. This is the next one. You see John up and Rita.
Oh,
That might have been the bear hunt.
The
Yeah,
bear
going on
hunt.
the bear hunt with them. They enjoyed that. They got a kick out of that. And we got different ones up speaking.
I was reading the bracelets, the yellow, the white, and the bracelet, the salvation bracelet. I was reading what each meant.
Right. Next one. We were giving those out to the kids. That's our musicians there in the corner.
This was the service, I know.
That was
That was the service that night. You see on the wall there, the stove. They've got, there was 2 in that church. That's how they heat during the wintertime, very cold winters, is wood burning stoves. And I have to say, I've been there in the winter 3 times. And again, they don't do air conditioning, they don't do ice, and they seem to like warmth. So I go in the wintertime, they got them heaters going, and I sweat bad. But they're comfortable. Next one. This is a lady that was singing a special.
She was, you
They
baptized
love
her?
music.
I think you baptized her. Yeah.
There's John speaking there. Go to the next one. We got lots. We're going to move through them quickly. This is another picture of the congregation. As you can see, Jackie, why don't you mention, you got your headgear on there. Why don't you mention mine?
Yeah, I like. She told me I had to cover married women have to cover their head.
In service.
So and during the worship service, but I saw a lot of women in everyday life that had their head covered, just as their normal apparel. But so I brought the scarves. I mean, I didn't know, and here she comes with this little headband, and I'm thinking, well, I could have brought a headband and not look like a. Anyway, I just was not prepared, but I covered my head, so I was good.
Yep. Didn't have to do her hair, did you? You go to the next one. During the service there. Next one, some more pictures of folks during that service. It was a pretty good crowd that night. Most of the seats were full.
Those 2 are believers, active in the church.
It might have been some that was getting some sugar, wasn't it?
No, well, yeah, but
The one on the right.
Now, in their culture, when he says getting sugar means men, you got sugar. Women, you got sugar. Men gave sugar to the men. They didn't, when you walked through that back door, it was all about hugging you, and they're going to kiss you on the left and the right cheek coming in. Else bar none.
and leaving.
And leaving. So these 2 are believers in the big church at Tonchu. And we were starting to leave, and these 2 women wanted to get a picture with American. To me, it wasn't special, just because we're Americans. But to these women that never has been out of a village of poverty and man, these two girls here say, I'm blessed. I wish we could get the rest of our village to come with us. You talking about touching. It's touching. When two women that ain't got nothing, you see in their homes, because we visited through some of this stuff where they lived. And they told me they were blessed. All I could do is stand there. I couldn't tell them nothing. I couldn't tell them how blessed I really was, because they're blessed. Comes from God. And a lot of times I have to humble Sherwin down and get the human part out of the way. And that's what we as people, that's what this mission trip's all about, bringing it back to our church and our people, showing what we have to do daily that they beg for.
This picture here, I believe, is our last day, isn't it?
No,
No,
that's day
that
it
was at
rained.
a school in
That's Thursday.
Villatechi.
That's day it rained.
That's
okay.
Thursday morning.
Yeah,
That's the day it rained.
that's JT
We were
school.
back at a school the last day, but this is Thursday in Villatechi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the day it rained.
yeah, that's day it rained all day.
all day.
All right, next picture. You see where most of the guys stayed there.
We had to hang dry our clothes, so that's why there were clothes everywhere. They weren't really that messy.
There's two sets of bunk beds, and you had to walk through their bedrooms. There was always a little curtain there if they needed to change or something. They'd close the door, and you'd have to knock. But that's where the Sherwin and Herschel and Robert and Josh stayed and slept, or tried to sleep anyway. And next one, you see another picture there. Go ahead and go to the next one here. This was that night in Villatechi, wasn't it?
Yeah, we
That
fed
was
the
that
church.
Thursday.
That's the night.
After the service, they feed the church and had some meat. You can tell them what meat is. You remember? It's like sausage without the skin, lamb and pork together. It's actually really good. So they had some homemade bread and what they call it, meat and mustard, and they feed the folks in the church that night. And so we were helping serve there. You see the folks there in the next picture. Look like Josh got him a plate too. Wow, stuff is good. Next is just some pictures of them in that service. That's pretty
odd.
much the whole sanctuary in Villatechi. It's not very big, but they pack it in
Hobby.
pretty well. You go to the next one. Still some more. Just kind of scroll through these. This picture, one more. Tell you who this is. Of course, Rita's there to the right center, and this is her sister, Sonda, that is there to your left center. She did most of our cooking. Most of the time we were there, her and her mama, and of course Rita helped some, but Rita was often out with us translating. So Sonda did a lot of our cooking for us, and we just appreciate her spirit. She's married to Adi, which is one of our translators, and he's in America now with the team. This is his first time to America. This young man's not going real far in school. He's gone some in what they'd call maybe high school here, but he speaks about 5 languages and is just gifted. And God's blessed him with that gift. He spent time in Germany, Spain, working, and has a heart for the ministry. And I just wanted to introduce who Sonda was to you there. Next picture. This is in Bistrica, the bigger city, at a little restaurant that we went to one day when we were there. Go to the next one. It's the same thing. This is a group. All right, next one. Here's some of our boys that were with us. You met Holden already to your left there, the younger one, the one behind him. Somebody introduce him.
He's Benny. He's Rita's. Yep. That's Benny. He is Rita's youngest brother. He's 13 years old, and he's also one of our translators. He's pretty good too.
Special young man. Certainly is, and that's his brother right across from him.
Lisi.
Lacey and
His name is Lisi, but we were calling him Lacey the entire time we were there.
he never corrected us. So we just called him, his name's Lacey. He's 17 years old. That's Benny's older brother, and he's just Lacey. Let's just leave it at that. He's fun, but he's a mess. All right, next picture.
Oh, this is in Vatava.
Okay, this is up in the kind of what we kind of call the mountain. This village was Vatava that we went to. This is the second time I've been to this one. I went there last time. Y'all want to speak about Vatava for just a second? Kind of tell them about this village.
Heather?
Somebody.
You up, girl.
Okay. What city was this off of? Do we know? But what was it off of?
I don't know. Wasn't close to nothing.
Anyways,
Way out.
this village is like, okay, the gypsies are not liked by many people. They were actually kicked out and kind of pushed up the mountain, and so they've kind of built houses and made a life for themselves up there. And majority of these houses, like this one, I believe, the lady has 13 kids, and a total of 15 people lived in one little small house.
Had a tarp for the roof. Had a tarp
And
for
majority of their houses were made out of clay and horse manure, or mud and horse manure. And they didn't really have any roofs. It was just like a tarp. Who was that lady?
We encountered this woman, I know, there. She's a believer. She's been baptized. She had some health issues. She'd been to the doctor. And Robert had shared on Wednesday night about her. Some of you heard that. But she had spent her money at the doctor and didn't have money for bread. Well, we had stopped and bought out, I know, at least 1 or 2 stores of bread. Not the kind, it ain't Wonder Bread. It's like what we have. It's different bread, but it's good bread. But we bought, I don't know, 20-something loaves, 24, 25 loaves, and taken it to this village and another area later. But we had bread for them, and she just was sharing with us that she'd just been praying that morning that I had to go to the doctor and spend the money and didn't have money for bread for me and my kids, but she had a passel of them too. I don't remember how many for sure. There's a good many in there.
13. I think she had
13 in
13.
there as well.
I think she had 13.
And husband was working, off working, and she goes, I prayed I don't have money for bread, and then God brought y'all here and gave her bread. And it touched her heart, and we gave her, I think, 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then John was going to give her another one. But where we're at, we kind of had to walk a little, what we might call a pig path, I guess you could say, from the main area we parked down to these houses, kind of in a little valley. And we offered the third one, and she said, get somebody up the hill. And I said, up the hill may need it worse than I do. Keep in mind, there's 13 kids in this house. Somebody up the hill may need it worse than I do. Take it to them. And that touched my heart, that she's willing, that don't have hardly anything here. But John assured her, we've got more in the van that we're going to give them up on top of the hill there. So she did take it, and we gave it to her so they would have some bread. We prayed with her and prayed for her health issues as well. This is still in Vatava. Go to the next one. This is up on top of the hill in Vatava where we parked and gathered with a group up here and gave out some, I think some of the bracelets or necklaces.
The dolls.
The beads. Gave the dolls, the salvation dolls there, some candy to the kids, and bread as well, loaves of bread. This is also the same village when I went last time. Marisa went with me, and we had service outside with about 1 foot of snow, right in that same area right there.
It was so cold.
And because they didn't really, we had a house lined up, but they're kind of funny folks that they didn't particularly like that person that we were going to meet in that house, so they'd rather stand outside in the snow. And while we talked to them, so that was the area. If you remember some pictures of people gathered out in the snow, that was it right there. Go to the next one. Sherwin, you want to talk about this couple? You got your picture here with them.
Somehow, I wasn't in very many pictures because I was doing a lot of picture taking. But this couple stood out back to the back side. He was about 92, and she was in the 84 or 5 range, I think. And these people seemed like they done better than I did at my age up there on that hill. And it was like them 2 folks were so blessed They were 92 years old. This little man got around. He had that cane. But does anybody remember what he done for a trade?
Worked in something, I think, in pottery of some sort.
Pottery, that's right. He made pottery all his life. And he stood there and gave us opportunity to listen to him a minute. And he blessed me more than I could walking on that hill to bless him.
And 92 there is probably about 110 here.
That's right.
You don't find many Romanians, especially gypsies, that live that old there. Their health care, they just don't have the health care that we have, nor the money to pay for it. You can go to the next one. This is another picture up on the
That's the
hill
same.
here.
That's the same lady.
Yeah, same one we talked to. You can go to the next one. I think we're still involved by there. You can go to the next one.
Oh, yeah, we got to talk about this.
What is that?
This is Jackie praying.
Oh, yeah.
I did a lot of praying.
Going down that back road.
Yeah.
We weren't sure where we were
We
going.
were up on this mountain now, and they said, oh, they got the road open down there. There's a shortcut down to the village. So they're like, well, all right, last time we tried it, it was washed out or something like that, but we'll go. And it was a bit, it ain't no paved road, let's just say that.
Yeah.
And Jackie was a little nervous there. So
Well, I know a thing or two about driving a big van and getting it stuck. And I was afraid that thing was going to get stuck or in a, I could see, and so I just had to turn it over to the Lord.
Tell them what this is there.
Oh,
That's what I
that's
love.
Gypsy Cola.
What they call Gypsy Cola. It's
Gypsy juice.
Gypsy Czech Cola or something like that. What we have.
It's
We got a
nasty.
kick out of it. Yeah, they call it Gypsy Juice sometimes. And it's all room temperature, by the way. Remember, they don't do ice.
And it's like flat coat.
All right, you go to the next one.
I don't know where that was.
I don't.
This was
This is
That's
outside of Reagan.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
Reagan, okay.
This is an area we went to. This is my first time here. 50 yards from where we were, there were nice houses, what we consider nice houses. This is just one area that was just a slum, horrible living environment.
where the juice.
And where the gypsies live at. You can go to the next one, and there were people everywhere. What did they say? 17 families, I think, live there, and amongst about 4 or 5 houses. What they call a house. You can go to the next one. There's just some pictures there. We gave out some bread to each family and some candy to the kids. You can see the next one there is kind of where they live in the background. They're kind of all connected in a sense. The houses are. Next one. And we're giving out some bread there. This area, pictures really, as we said a lot, can't do it justice. It was a tough area. It really touched, it really pulled at our hearts, this area. It was one of the worst ones that we saw. You can go to the next one.
There, yeah, in the distance.
When you seen me in a picture, it wasn't just me to get a picture with these Romanian gypsies. I wanted to get in a picture so somebody'd get up close enough. You see, if I'm taking a picture, I'm getting close enough to a house. I don't want to offend these people in any way to get a picture. So I would make sure to get in there, love on them, hug on them. I want somebody to get me up close. Get the background. Don't get Sherwin in the picture. Get the background, because this right here is like in Reagan, when you seen that little fence, those boys were standing there. I want to give you a good scenario picture of today's living. The house right over here that Mr. Miller lived in, put a fence up, and this is what was next door to it. 4 houses deep up on the hill. It was wild. I never seen nothing like this. We pulled the corner, went around a pretty place like Mr. Miller right here coming up the back street, turned the corner, and about 50 or 60 head of young'uns come to that van like they were going to take the wheels off the van. But they wanted to see what the Americans were. So that's their houses in the background there. That's the reason I tried to get a picture up in there. Now, this is a trash dumpster. You can see in that picture there, it's got, I think it had H backwards E there. That's your local trash dump. And they built their houses around that local trash dump. So they built if you would be in Eastman, Georgia, and they built that wooden fence, to get that trash dumpster away from those nice homes, that's what happened. They built their life around that trash dumpster that people would bring up the hill to Reagan, to the trash dump, and they just started building right there. And just so happened there was 17 families, 50 or 60 kids. It was just crazy. I wanted to take a picture of a lady trying to cook some chicken legs. I seen chicken legs cooked in 4 minutes. And you said that ain't gonna happen. It happened. They had a black skillet with a fire. It was burning up above the black skillet. The grease was popping. It was black grease. Don't tell them they got stomachs of steel over there. They ain't got Sherwin's stomach. Because she dropped the chicken in 2 minutes. She turned it. It was black. She picked it up in about 4 minutes. It looked like this tablecloth here. And 4 kids ate off 1 chicken leg. And the bread that we gave them, they opened the bread and had 1 piece of bread each and 1 chicken leg to break loose. I wanted to get a picture of that frying pan and that chicken, but I didn't want to offend these people. I couldn't get down there and lay by the fire.
All outside.
But all of this is outside. This is nothing inside. I'm being serious with you. That 1 picture, if I could have got the frying pan, we may not eat chicken again in our life. But I wanted that picture, but I didn't want to offend the lady because she was cooking for about 50 or 60 people, young ones.
Here you see in our outing here on the bus, these are the kids on the charter bus where we took them to town. 35 kids. We were fortunate only 1 got car sick in a 30-minute drive on the way and 1 on the way back, because a lot of them don't ride in cars very often at all. You can go to the next one. We see Sandu there in the picture. That's Rita's dad, one of the pastors there, sitting next to Robert. Go to the next one. It's just more pictures on the bus ride.
There's me.
All right, next one. All right.
Kids want the picture.
It's just kids.
There's several. They got picture happy on the right over there. Go to the next one. You can just get
Keep
a
going.
view of the kids. All right.
They put on there a lot of things.
Now, you got kids that had never seen a camera. So I was taking pictures. They were so proud that we got phones and we Snapchat and we take pictures all day long. These kids that I'm taking pictures of had never touched, seen, or anything of a camera. So I was making their day taking a picture. They just wanted a picture. They weren't going to never hold the picture, but they wanted a picture of themselves on my camera, and I'd show it to them. So I'm going to try to make some pictures of this stuff, get it sent to John, make sure he's got it in his hand so he can hand it out to these different families.
We're in the streets of here. You can see some pictures of their kids are walking. This is on the park here. It's a little exercise type area with these little things before you got the playgrounds on the other end, and we got to kick out Sandu and some of them getting their exercise there on the little exercise equipment.
That's still the same.
Still at the park here. You can go to the next one.
Sandu and Mama Rita.
Mama
That's
Rita.
Sandu's wife, Mama, what we call Mama Rita. And because Rita, and of course her daughter, John's wife's Rita as well. All right, go to the next one.
Here's a wedding.
A wedding.
That was one of about 4 weddings we seen that day.
There at the park was a very popular spot for wedding pictures, and after the weddings, they came out and we saw at least, 4 or 5 wedding
At
parties
least.
there.
At least.
Several pictures here you see. You go to the next one. Here's the bride. Get the pictures taken. One of them tried to come over and offer us something to drink. And it smelled a bit strong as she walked up. So but no thank you, no thank you. They were trying to include us. They saw we were Americans. And I guess maybe the mother of the bride or a lady there had a tray and little cups. And you could smell it as it came near you. And we didn't take any, just so you know. Next one. This is ice cream
Ice
shop
cream.
here. You get one glob or two globs. That's what they call it, literally. I'm not making that up. Globs.
Globs.
That's how they charge it. So that's kind of funny. But anyway, it's pretty good ice cream though, isn't it? All right, you go to the next one. All the kids got an ice cream.
Same thing.
Same thing. You go to the next one. All right, you know who that is, right?
Isabella.
Isabella. This is Audie's little girl. He's here in America. Sweet, pretty little girl. She just grabbed our heart. She was around us a lot at the house. Her mom was the one doing the cooking. Go to the next one. This is some of the folks getting their ice cream. Next one. We're at the playground area now.
Sunglasses. Benny sunglasses.
That picture, he was trying to get me to look like a gypsy. And Benny said, Mr. Sherwood, put these glasses on and see if I can make you look like me. Well, it didn't happen. I ain't skinny and dark skinned, so I can't be like that.
All right, next one. Still at the park. Good group of us. Kids played, and somehow the adults found a way to sit and watch them. All right, next one's at the restaurant there where we got pizza there near, 10 minutes from the park maybe. Is that?
Yeah, I don't think it was that.
It's actually a nice place, very nice place that we got pizza. A little different pizza though, isn't it?
They don't use pizza sauce. They
Yeah.
don't use tomato sauce. On the
They dip it in ketchup.
Yeah, they have a gravy boat of ketchup, more or less, on the table. If you want to put something of that on your pizza, you can. All right, next one is Sherwin's coffee cup, I think. There it is. We were walking around the streets and we saw that, and I said, Sherwin, you need to get over there and let's get your picture. Of course, over there, the coffee ain't near that big. You get pretty much like espresso. And that was a different experience for Sherwin there, I think, too. All right, next one. Oh, this, there, us waiting around for the kids. All right, go to the next one. This is in Pentique
The
services.
floor.
The floors are done. You can see the floor there in the picture. We're gonna move through these rather quick. You can go to the next one. We're getting late in the time. All right, next picture.
Still
These are
Pentique.
more from the
Pentique.
service there on Sunday.
There's that Muslim one.
Next one. This is Risa singing there. And the Middle Eastern woman playing the piano. We joked about that most of the time over there. You go to the next one. Still in Pentique, a little one there. Got the next one, more kids there in Pentique, that service. That one was at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock? We had service at 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 5 o'clock on Sunday at different villages, and some of them are about an hour away. So it was a busy day on Sunday. Go to the next one. This is in Tanchu on Sunday, where we were at earlier. Go to the next one.
Yeah, that's Tanchi.
All right, one more. Now, this was in the B Street at an Orthodox church. This is not a gypsy church, that's for sure. Very ornate and things. We had, the last day we did some sightseeing before we had our banquet that evening. You can go to the next one. Different pictures of the Orthodox church.
Y'all remember how old that church was?
It was
1800?
built in between 1860 and 1870, I think, was the construction on that church. You can go to the next one.
1,200. No, yeah, I know.
That's the
He's
outside.
saying 1,800.
It wasn't. Daddy.
It was.
Is that a different one? Okay. That one was locked. That was another old church, though.
Yeah, it's 800 years old.
That one's 800 years
It was
old?
built in like 1200.
Okay.
No, that's not the one.
Not that one.
The one we were in.
Okay, I'm sorry. The
Don't matter.
Orthodox church was 1260 to 1270. So it was 800 years old.
That was the one we built.
That's why y'all talking, keep me straight. All right, next one.
That was.
Going up the
This
mountain.
is going up to the Transylvania Mountains, or Carpathian Mountains. Last day we went up to Dracula's castle.
A funny thing, they don't play like any basketball over there, and we found one basketball the entire time we were there, and it was at that little shop in the background, and so we bought it and took it home and played with it.
All right, next one.
Who's that?
Who was that? Y'all tell me. Bram Stoker. Of course, we wrote Dracula. Next one. There's the hotel or castle. I think it's all just a tourist thing. All right, next one. That's in the van ride back, I'm guessing.
See, there's the basketball.
All right, this is the banquet that we stopped at a restaurant there near where we bought the basketball, I believe. Across the street, there was a restaurant that we came back for a banquet. That's the last night where we have a time to eat, but we also share around the table and what God's really spoke to us about. And go to the next one. That's Abi. That's Sandu's brother was with us. He's also in ministry there. Go ahead in this next picture. We need to start winding down. Reese or Rihanna, y'all want to tell them what that is there?
You can't see it good.
You can't
hardly
see
tell.
it good, but we made a makeshift basketball goal out
Right
of
there.
like
Right there.
yeah, right there. Out of what did we make it?
It's a ring off an oven of some
Yeah, it's like
sort
a
with
ring off
burning
an oven or
stove.
stove. Yeah, and an iron pole, and so we attached it up there to one of them support posts there, and so we had like a tiny little backboard that was like this big.
It's trying to teach those young gypsy boys how to play basketball.
Yeah, it was.
And they just kept saying, after a few minutes, let's play soccer, let's
Yeah.
play
Let's
football.
play soccer.
They won't play basketball anymore. And it wasn't long, they was trying to figure out how to kick the ball into the goal. Next picture is one of our bathrooms.
Our outhouse.
That's behind John's house. They still got that. Most of the church folks, when they're having services, that's the bathroom they use. Now, John has indoor plumbing in his house that we use, but occasionally with 9 people on a team with one bathroom, sometimes it was taken and you'd have to go use the outhouse, or at least some of us did. Not everybody did.
I can hold it.
You can go to the next one. That's the basketball goal there, you see, a different angle. All right, go to the next one.
Oh, that's Bianca.
That's Bianca.
That
Well-
was on her little graduation day.
This is the last day of school. We got to go down there before we left on their little graduation program. This is a little girl we spoke of that was in a very bad situation, abused. And John and Rita were able to get in there and basically talk the I won't call him my father. That's stretching it. But the male that was in the home with the other folks, and talk him into saying, you don't want this little girl. They were abusing her. She didn't belong to him biologically. They thought or figured, and so John and them said, let us take it. And it took some doing, but he finally agreed. The mother agreed. She's in prostitution, and they've had her for 5 months now, and she will steal your heart.
Mm-hmm.
She's a loving little girl. She'll, from the first day, really, she'd throw them arms up, want you to pick her up, and just touch your heart. It just really will. She looks like she's about 3 to 4, but she's almost 6 years old.
She'll be 6 in July.
Yeah, she's almost 6. Developmentally, she's behind. She's never been in school, never been taught. And so she was in the kindergarten class, or pre-K, kindergarten, whatever that was,
Pre-K.
with Isabella, you saw earlier, Audie's daughter, and JT, which is John's youngest son. They were all in a little program together. Another picture of Bianca right there. Sweet little girl, and has done great. Next picture,
That's Bianca.
is that
That's Bianca and Isabel.
Isabella with her? Go to the next one. They like to get their picture made. They were all dressed up. Go to the next one. This woman, Herschel and her. Go to the next one. Lacey is some of the guys, and the last one, next one. Beanie. All right, you go to the next one. All right. Just gonna kind of scroll through these, some pictures there toward the end of our trip. That's excellent, Robert.